So welcome everyone. We are just going to finish off that second Maths 24 question that we were doing in the warm-up. And I think Chulu has got it. Chulu has suggested 5 plus 4 is 9. So that's those two. And then 9 times 3 is 27. And then 27 minus 3, to you goes the glory, Chulu. You have done it. So I hope that your Maths 24 brains are starting to get better each time we do this. And we're going to start the lesson for real now. Could you just give us a thumbs up if you are a student joining us for the first time today? If you are, just give us a thumbs up because it's helpful for us just to know. This is the last lesson in a series of 6 lessons on integers. And so that is going to be the focus today. But if you are a little bit confused, know that there are recordings that you can find on the website that show you the 5 lessons building up to this. Welcome to Monene. It is lovely to have you with us. Oh, my name is Nakateko. Welcome to Nakateko. It is so nice for you to join us today. And if you are new, just put your thumb up and then put your name in the chat. And Miss Anya, who is the other maths teacher helping, she will welcome you with some appropriate emojis. Okay, so just some admin, guys, before we start. The first thing is today, at the end of the lesson, we're going to have a fun quiz. And so we will give you that link. And then when you go off and do that quiz, you don't need to come back to class. When you do the quiz, you finish this module. Okay, so that's going to happen at the end. The second thing is if you are at the end of your 2-week free trial, you are going to get a message from Watobe. And if you've enjoyed this time and you can see potential for your learning in the service, please tell your parents that, so that when they get that message, they know that the service is worth using. And also, we really want you to tell your friends, because we think that it's a case of the more the group grows and the more variety and interesting people we have, the more the learning will become richer. And also because we know that there are lots of students out there who could benefit from being in a group, like a group that supports their learning in mathematics. So those are the main admin things for today. Ms. Anya, is there anything from you that you want to do before we get going?
Yeah, just from my side, for those of you that don't know me, because I see there are quite a few new faces. So my name is Anya. And yeah, normally I'm here on time. Wednesday's just a bad day for me, but I am here. And just remember to stay, yes. I don't know if I lag there, but just remember to stay on until the end of the day. So see students in the can't hear. So yeah, stay until the end of today because Wednesdays are quiz days. So we do release a quiz link in the chat. So I'll post it in the chat. If you've got any questions, please use the chat. I hope you guys can all hear me and all that. And then if so, back to Sam.
It might have also been my internet that was being a bit funny. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make you the, well, actually, okay. If you hear us fine, give us a thumbs up. I really should give us a nice thumbs up that you know kind of what is. I just want to see everyone can see what's going on, and then we are gonna.
I must say, so earlier, so also after the chat, if it was just me, I just heard you lag like once in a blue moon, but it's fine now.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, so obviously there were some technical bugs there, but let's get going. So,
okay.
Today is all about bringing all the knowledge from previous lessons together in one. So we're going to do adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing, and we're going to do things with multiple operations. But we're going to start with a deliberate warm-up, like a workout where we're stretching. And so this first one is just true or false. So I want you to answer these questions as true or false in the chat. I want you to say A is either true or say that it's false. And the question just says, basically, is 5 minus 7 equal to minus 7 plus 5? Is minus 2 minus 4 equal to 2 plus 4? And I want you to put that in the chat and just see if that makes sense to you. This goes back to the very beginning of the unit, just to get our brains going. Okay, I see that we have some answers coming through. Jackie, Didi, Charity. Now, guys, if you can, put all your answers in one time. So we go A something, B something, C something. So it's all one line. It's fine to do one at a time as well, but it's just nice to be able to see. So lots of people, so I see some people say it's all false. Some people say there are some truths. This is a good question. My tip for you is think of the number line, guys. Think about, if you go back to lesson 1, a lot of the section was all based around the number line. So think about where you end up. If you start at 5 and you take away 7, where do you end up? And if you start at minus 7 and add 5, where do you end up? That's going to be an important idea. Okay. I see quite a few false, false, false. Okay, I'll give a bit more time. Okay, so for A, 5 minus 7 is minus 2, and minus 7 plus 5 is also minus 2. And so A is true. Now, a lot of you didn't get that, and so I'm going to go over that in a moment. For B, minus 2 minus 4 is minus 6. 2 plus 4 is 6. Minus 6 is not equal to 6. And so we would say that B is false. C, 2 minus 8 is minus 6. Is minus 6 equal to 6? No. So that is false. Most of you seem to get this one and this one okay. It's this first one which was causing problems. And so I'm going to go through that in a little bit more detail now. So let's draw a number line. And let's imagine on the number line, we have 0. And then we're going to focus on the first number like we always did and ask, where is the first number? It's 5. So 5 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5. Now I have to take away 7 from 5, which is going to mean going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And what I then get to is minus 2. Okay, so that's what the one side is. Now, what is minus 7 plus 5? Oh, flip, guys. Let me bring that back. Now, what I need to do is I need to extend my number line a little bit because I'm starting at minus 7. And minus 7 is going to be far to the left. So let's say minus 7 is over here. Now, in order to, if I start at minus 7 and I add 5, I have to go 5 in the right direction. So I go minus 6, minus 5, minus 4, minus 3, minus 2, and I end up at this spot, which is what both of the values were. And so I hope that helped you just to get your brain back to the number line. And in fact, I'm going to make another one up for you. So let us, well, actually, first of all, give me a thumbs up if you felt like that explanation helped. Give us a thumbs down if you're still confused, because then I know if I should do another example. Okay. Let's do one more just in case. So if I say 2 minus 8 is equal to minus 8, is that true or is that false? We're going to call this D. It looks like a crime scene with all this red, but is D true or false? I want you to put in the chat. 2 minus 8, is it equal to minus 8 plus 2? I want to see those answers. The people have spoken. I see some trues and some false. So again, if we look at the number line for this, let's just visualize it on the number line. If you start, okay, you always have 0. If I start at, say, 2 over there, and I take away 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I get down to -6. However, if I'm focusing on the -8, the -8 is hanging out down here. And when I add 2, I just hop to -7 and then to -6. And so this is actually true. Both of these are going to be equal to -6. Okay, so that was a bit of a warm-up on plussing and minusing integers. Let us do a little bit of a warm-up on multiplying. But I want you, this time, I want you to fill in the missing number. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes for this. It's now 17:11. And I'm going to give you till 17:13. And you have to give me the answers. What is the missing? So for A, you'll give me the answer that you think goes here. For B, you'll give me the answer that you think goes here. Over to you guys. Let's see what you remember from the previous lessons. So -9 times what gives you -27?
So,
Yes.
yes, while we wait for the students to post their answers in the chat, I see Anna's got their hand up. I don't know if they would need to ask a question or so.
No, let's go for it. Anna, go ahead and ask your question. Go ahead, Anna.
You just need to unmute yourself.
Okay, well, while we wait for Anna, we can just carry on. But if there are any other students who want to ask questions, then they can either ask them in the chat if they feel comfortable doing so, or on the mic. I can see all the students. Jackie's working hard, Charity's working hard, Onwaba's working hard. It is good to see all those students out there. Caleb's working hard.
I see now. Sorry, they mentioned now in the chat that it's fine. They don't need to ask a question.
Cool. I must say, guys, it's really helpful having your cameras on your side. It's really great. Like, it gives me a good sense of what's going on with the students. So thank you to all the students who have their cameras on. I just want to give you a shout out and say, yeah, we're on this journey together, and yeah, it's great to be with you. Okay, how much time have we got? Still got another 30 seconds or so. See what you can do. Okay. Mosa, go ahead, Mosa. Your hand is up.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Can you please explain question B, because I see people saying it's 2. I think they say it's 2, and I don't understand how is it 2.
Okay. The sneaky thing about B, is that there's no multiplication sign there. And the question actually says find the missing number or operation. And so all the other ones have multiply, but I think B is a bit special because of that. Okay, let's do these questions together. So in the first one, you already have a negative, and the final answer is a negative, which means this has to be a positive something. Now, I don't know exactly what that positive is yet, but I know it will be a positive. And we actually don't even always write the positives. We assume that they're there. So then we have to say, well, 9 times what gives me 27? And that's where it will be 3. Let me see if I can make this a bit thinner. A little bit thick. So it's going to be 3. Now the next one is actually, if I'm at -9 and I need to get to -12, I'm actually going to have to, like, if you think of the number line, right? We have -9 and then we have 0. -12 is to the left of that. And it's 3 units to the left of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this missing one is just -3 or take away 3, because -9 minus 3 gets me to -12. Then for C, a negative times a negative is a positive. So I know that's a positive. 2 times 15 is 30. And then the last one is I've got a negative already. The final answer is a negative, which means the one that's missing must be a positive. And that positive will be 18. Okay. If you have questions, please put them into the chat or raise your hand. If you're feeling fantastic and you're feeling like you've got this, give us a thumbs up. I just want to get a feel for how you're feeling, because this is like the, we're still doing the warm-ups. We're just getting our brains moving. Okay. Now, if you're feeling a bit uncomfortable, I encourage you, while I do the next one, put your question in the chat. Miss Anya is a very good math teacher, and so she can sometimes give you some prompts and ideas to keep going. Okay, so I'm going to use it.
Sir.
Pleasure. Yeah. Okay, sneaky one. Okay, I'll leave B on inside just so that it's there. We're going to use the fancy word called ascending. And ascending means to go from smallest to biggest. It's like a plane that takes off. It ascends. It goes. Can I draw a plane? I'm really not very good at drawing, guys, but I'm going to try my best. Oh, no, this is not going to be pretty. So it's like a plane that takes off. It goes up from small to big. I want you to write A and B from smallest to biggest number, and I want you to put it in the chat. I will give you a minute to do this. So we will go until 5:18. You are given all these numbers. They're not in the correct order. I will tell you this, the smallest one, just to get you going, the smallest one is -500. And so that is where you will start. But I want you to finish the rest of the list. And then I also want you to do B. Rewriting the list, so the smallest comes first and the biggest is at the end. You go from left to right. Okay, over to you guys. I just want to. Yeah. Why is the smallest 500? That is a good question, because it's not just any old 500, it is -500. So again, whenever I teach integers, I almost get boring about, I'm so insistent on the number line. Think of the number line, here's 0. Positive 500 might live up here, but -500 lives down here. And when you're ordering it, you go from the smallest to the biggest. So -500 is down on the left. Now, my line is not to scale, but what would come next? Well, it's only going to be negative numbers that we consider. And of the negatives, -10 is probably the next one that I'm going to put in my list. I can see that straight away, but I don't want to give away too much. I want to give you some more time. And for those of you who are, it's looking good so far. Keep those answers coming. Okay, so here we are. For the first one, let me make it a little bit smaller just so I can squeeze it in. We have -500. Then we have -10. Then we have -5. Now, what's so sneaky about this, guys, is your brain thinks, oh, 5 is bigger than 1. But because it's to the left of the number line, it's actually smaller. Then I get -1. Notice how I'm crossing them out as I go. Then I get 2, and then I get 12. So that would be for A. And then for B, what's going to be the biggest, or what's going to be the smallest? It's going to be -201. Then it's going to be -200. Okay, then it's going to be -100. Let me sneak this across. I've got a 5 hiding there. Then I've got -2. What have I got left? And then I've got 5, and then I've got 7. And that's just showing you that all these integers, they live on the number line. And whenever we get confused, we go back to the number line. Nicely done, Nene. Nicely done, Joshua. Nicely done, Harry. Nicely done, Atlagang. You guys look like you're well on your way to winning at this section. So I don't want to stand in your way, but just some shout outs to you guys as you are climbing the mountain. Okay, a little bit more sneaky now. Will the answer be positive or negative? So all that you have to do is decide, will this be positive or will it be negative? I'm not going to ask you to put it in the chat this time. I'm just going to ask you to write it down on your piece of paper. And again, I'm going to give you 1 minute to do this. This is a speed drill, 1 minute, and you decide, is this positive or is it negative? Lesedi, I see you've raised your hand. What can I help you with?
Hello, sir.
Hi, Lesedi.
I wanted to ask, should we write the answer or just?
In this case, it's just a speed drill, so you don't have to put the answer this time. All I want to know is, in the first one, you should have got that it ends up being a positive.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I want for now. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give you, 30 more seconds. And then I'm going to, so again, you don't need to do the whole number. I just want if it's positive or negative. Now, what's really important to think about is this number bigger or smaller than the number that comes after it? Because that relationship is going to influence things. So 4 or 5, that's going to, okay. So let's do it. This is going to be negative. Now, this is a bit sneaky because it's a decimal, 0.75, but that's less than that. So this is going to be negative. And this is also going to be negative. Okay, guys, if you just leave it on mute when you are online, unless you're asking a question, to keep yourself on mute, that'd be awesome. And I think that you guys are winning. So let's move on up. Okay, last warm-up exercise, although I'm enjoying these warm-ups so much. You have to decide, again, you write this, you can put it in the chat if you've got the time, but does the crocodile mouth go this way or does the crocodile mouth go this way? The mathematical name for the crocodile mouth is the inequality sign. So is the left-hand side going to be bigger or is the right-hand side going to be bigger? That's what I want you to decide. And again, just a speed drill. You don't need to work out everything. You're just going to get 90 seconds for this. And then Mosa, yeah, go ahead, ask your question. Okay, Mosa, I see you raised your hand. I see Jackie's got the answer in there. Okay, who else is going to commit? Chibocho has got the answer. Nene's got the answer. Okay, give a little bit more time. So one way you could do this is just by saying, what is minus 12 plus 10? And also, what is 12 minus 10? And then if you compare, it might be easier. Charity's phoned in her answer. Tabocho's phoned it in. Texted in there. So this is going to be minus 2, and that's going to be 2, which means that the crocodile wants to eat the bigger thing. So the crocodile mouth is facing to the right.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah.
Just also in the chat, if I just want to ask quickly, are there any learners that get confused with the less than and greater than symbols? Please let me know in the chat. Just say yes, ma'am, or yes, a.
Yes.
just so I can explain in the chat what the difference between the two is. All right,
Perfect.
back to you, sir.
Okay, now so I'm going to go ahead and I see the answers are pretty much all in now. So I'm going to go ahead. So the biggest thing here, okay, let's do B. -5 plus 7, that's going to end up being a positive 2, and 12 is already 12. Now we know that 12 is a bigger, basically, if we think of the number line, here's 0, here's 2, here is 12. 12 is further to the right, or the bigger number, which means when we put the crocodile mouth in, think about mouth. If something's bigger, if you have a choice, okay, maybe not everyone, but most people they're going to choose the bigger option. And so there's like these two arms that are like going like this. And so that's why the crocodile mouth faces that way. It's saying this one over here is smaller. This one over here is bigger. Okay, last one for C, 7 minus 10 is going to be -3. 7 minus 11 is going to be -4. This is quite tricky. The bigger one here, my brain wants to go to the 4, but the bigger one, if I look at the number line, so I've got 0, -3, you can see that -3 is actually further to the right. So the crocodile mouth is going to go like that. Okay. And you will see the and again, we're going to start using the word the inequality symbol, or the greater than or less than symbol. We'll start to use the word crocodile mouth a little bit less as we get into high school. Okay, I'm not going to do any more of that. Let us go to the main stuff. And let's do this. Okay. So I want to now do some mixed questions where we have to deal with BODMAS and integers. And BODMAS we did in our first unit of the year on whole numbers. That was something that we did. So as an example, in this question 1, 6 plus 4 times 2, because of BODMAS, or sometimes people say, some parts of the world, they say PEMDAS, it's important that given a choice, you do the multiplication before you do the addition. So in this case, that means going 6 plus 8, because 8 comes from the multiplication, and then we get 14. In the second one, yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Is it possible for you to maybe close your sidebar? So, because the students, that's better. If we can have like 9 questions like that on, not Perfect. 9, 6, that's correct. Thank you, sir.
Cool. Thanks, Anya. Okay, so in the second one, again, we have to do the multiplication first. So we get 40 minus 5, and we get 35. So I want you to take this idea, and I want you to try and do up to number 8 for me. And this time I'm going to give you 3 minutes. So we're going to go until 16:32. I'm going to get some water. And again, it's just, we're just bringing the practice element back in each time.
While you're doing these and sir's going out to go get some water, if you have a question or so, please post it in the chat. So basically I use 2 screens. So one screen is literally just the chat so that I can focus, and the other screen is the actual lesson. So if you have anything, just post in the chat. I have quite quick fingers and I can help you.
Okay, Teboko and Jackie are sending those answers in. Nicely done, guys. Kamogelo is on the keyboard. Okay. It's nice to see those answers. And give you a bit of time. The good thing about integers is it becomes quite predictable after a while. And so if you get this right, when we mix in a few more negatives in the next set of questions, you follow the same process.
So,
yes.
I see Caleb has got their hand up. I'm not too sure if Caleb has a question.
Go ahead, Caleb. No, go ahead. No problem.
Hi, sir.
Hello. How's it going?
I'm good, sir. So I have a question. So like for number 4, sir.
Yeah.
So we must, let's say 20 minus 5, right?
Yes.
and then we get that answer, and then
No, here's what's important. So Caleb, what's really important is you're given a choice here. You have a choice to either carry out the subtraction or the multiplication, because look, they're next to each other. And what BODMAS says is that you have to do division and multiplication before you do addition and subtraction. That's what the D and the M stand for compared to the A and the S. So it's almost like multiplication is more important. It gets preference. So that's important to remember. That's what BODMAS kind of teaches us. Does that help a little bit?
No, sir. I got a little bit confused there.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
So when you do these, I know also what you're doing is quite fun, but I think it also helps if you write like as if you would have like a long algebraic thing, writing it beneath one another. So like for number 6, so we should know by now, we do 24 divided by 8 first. But I think it's good to also show the students first write do like that, or you could say equals 3 plus 3, because it was 24. Yeah, because the reason why I'm saying that, and it's also to help Caleb with his question, because I know he's not the only one. But Caleb, when we do that, we can also see, and then, sorry, I know, so you wrote not to the right again equals 6, but it's also nice to work beneath one another, because then you can actually see how we did one step at a time. Okay, I hope that makes sense, sir.
All good. We can 8 plus 12, then you're saying get 20. And then the last one, 1 plus 6 again. So I should probably highlight the bit I'm doing first. Like I'm always doing this bit first because of the rules basically. And so we have 1 plus 30, which is 31. Okay, you guys did very well in that. I can see that it's time to take it up a little bit. And so I'm going to ask you to do these 4 questions for me. And again, I'm going to give you 3 minutes. And remember, the B in BODMAS stands for brackets. So whenever you have a bracket, you need to do the bracket first. So can you do 3 to 6 there? So I'll put in yellow what I think gets done first. Okay, going nicely, guys, going nicely. I can even zoom
So
in.
like theoretically, correct me if I'm wrong, but these brackets should be a bit easier for the students because it clearly states which one you should do first.
Exactly. Well, as long as you know that you do that first, because if you see the multiplication and you don't know brackets come before multiplication, it can get a little bit. So for example, here, the 11, even though it's a subtraction, it's inside a bracket, which can be a little bit confusing the first time you see it. But we're coming through a nice variety of questions here, which I like. Tebogo, your hand is raised. How can I help you?
Hello, sir. I'm just confused with number 5.
Okay. Given a choice between the 2 things, you have to carry out the bracket first. So what you're going to get is you get that 5, and then the 25 divided by 5 has to happen second, and 25 divided by 5 gives you the answer of 5. So whenever there's a bracket, same as this one, whenever there's a bracket, you do the bracket before the division, because the brackets are even more important than the multiplication. So in BODMAS, the B is the first thing. After B, for the brackets, then there's division and multiplication, And after that, there's only addition and subtraction. Okay, so let us go to another type of question. I'm going to zoom in for a second to see where I am, if I've lost my marbles. Sorry, guys, if I'm giving you a headache. Just want to make sure I choose the right questions. Not those. No, let's do these ones. Okay, so we are going to do some together, and then you're going to do some by yourself. So if we look at just 13 to 15 for a moment, and then we'll do 16 to 18, these questions are starting to get a bit more tricky. And the reason they're getting a bit more tricky is it's not clear which one to do first. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, what is inside the bracket? That is the thing we have to do first. Once we've done that, then what we have is minus 8 times whatever's in the bracket divided by 2. Now, what is 2 minus 6? It's going to be minus, oh, it's a bit thick, isn't it? Get a color. Pen, red. So I first carry out what's inside the bracket because of the B in BODMAS. But after I've got that, I've got a little bit more thinking to do, because what is the relationship between the minus 8 and the minus 4? And what is the relationship over here? Can anybody tell me in the chat, what is the relationship between minus 8 sitting right next to the minus 4? I'd love to see in the chat, what do you think is happening between the minus 8 and minus 4? Especially if it's in a bracket. Okay, Tebogo, you are absolutely correct. And a lot of students find this strange. If a number is sitting next to another number in a bracket, it means it's multiplication. And so that's really important, because if you look at the rest of BODMAS, okay, these two have the same level of importance, and then these two have the same level of importance. So now the problem becomes, which one do I do first? Now, when you have something which is the same importance, division and multiplication are the same, all you do is go from left to right. So what do I mean with left to right? I mean, the first one that happens on the left is multiplication. So I carry that out first, and I go minus 8 times minus 4. And now I have to think, what is a minus times a minus? That's another part. So a minus times a minus is a plus. And then 8 times 4 is 30, 8, 16, 24, 32. Now I go 32 divided by 2, which gives me a final answer of 16. So there was quite a lot of work in that question. So I want to see, can you guys do for me question 14 and 15? Just try your best to follow that logic. Can you do 14 and 15 for me? I'll even take the other ones out of focus so that you can. I think I must have leave them there. Okay, so over to the students. You've got 2 minutes to try and do 14 and 15, and then I'm going to give some feedback, and then we'll see how that goes. Slow it down now. Slow it right down. What is the first thing you have to do here?
So
yeah.
Sorry, we'll get to Rahab's question now, just while we're on this. So as Sir's explained now, the bracket we do first, always first.
Yeah.
So after you have your brackets value, obviously then we've got multiplication and division, right? And a rule of thumb that I suggest is that work, like a book, what did you read? Work from left to right. Because multiplication and division, even though division is physically in front of M in BODMAS, they fall under the same level. So whenever there's multiplication and division and no addition or subtraction, work from left to right. So that's just one point I wanted to give to the students. I don't know if that's a question that Rahab had, but I'll hand it over to Rahab.
Yeah. Rahab, go ahead.
So I wanted to answer the question for number 14.
Please go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. So I'm at the stage where I go 4, there's a minus 3, and then a 6. What do I do next?
So like the answer is -2.
Okay, let me just work it out. So 4 times -3 is -12. And I'm going to write it like this, just so my brain can understand it easier. It means the same thing. Negative over a negative is a positive. So notice how I'm looking at this. There's a negative here. Oh, I've made something up, guys. Oh, sorry. -12 over 6. It's a positive 6, which means this must be a negative, which means this must be 2. And you are absolutely correct. Would anybody like to do 15? Yeah.
So also I'm 15.
Is that still you, Rahab?
Yes, sir.
Okay, give us step 1, not the whole thing, just step 1. What's the first thing I need to do in 15?
Okay.
Just
you wanna say?
Yeah.
Okay, so you wanna say -8, open brackets, 2.
Yes.
Minus 5, close brackets.
Okay. The most important thing I want to highlight is you must do the stuff in the brackets first. And the only bracket that needs some calculation is the 2 minus 5. So you get -3 in that bracket. Now you have to do the rest of the question. But this bracket over here is not very exciting because it's just a -4 hanging out in the bracket. Now we need to go to this next step. And we need to ask ourselves, what do we do first? And I'm going to use my yellow to show you what I do first. These two are being multiplied. So they're going to get all my attention. Then I'm going to go to the division. So -8 times -3 is +24. And sometimes I find it helpful to write the division as like a fraction like this. Positive over a negative is a negative. 24 over 4 is -6. And then we're really doing some quite hard questions there, guys. Okay. I want everyone to try and do number 16 and 17 now. Try and do number 16, 17. In fact, let's try for all three, 16, 17, and 18. Now, I know 18's got some funny stuff in it, but that's part of you live, you learn. So let's try and do 16, 17, and 18. We're almost at the end of today. So do the best you can. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll jump in here quickly.
Please, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so because I see there's quite a few hands up and it's just too much for me to type everything. So also like I suggested earlier to the students, when you do these, write the acronym or whatever BODMAS on your page. So BODMAS, like Sir's done at the top. Write it down. So that's going to be your little cheat sheet. Okay. Then when you look at these, immediately you see brackets. So brackets we do first. And then what I'll do is I'm going to take number 14 again as an example.
Okay.
And what I would have done is for number 14 is I'll say, right, so brackets first. So just beneath that, I would say, right, equals 4 brackets. And then in my mind, I ask, okay, 6 minus 9 should give me -3. So I write in the bracket -3. And then next to it, divide by 6. Okay, now I've got one step down. Now I work on beneath it. Now I've got 4 bracket divide. So it's actually 4 bracket divide, but it's the same as saying 4 times -3 divided by 6. So I'm going to read it as times. Now we go back to last week's or Monday's lesson. Now, because 4 and 3 is a positive and negative, a positive times a negative should always give you a negative. Remember, you first do the sign. 4 times 3 is 12, and then divide by 6 stays divide by 6. Last step, as Sir's written, -12 divided by 6. It's a division, negative divided by positive, so your answer is a negative, 12 divided by 6. Now, Toko, I know Toko had this question. I'm sure other people also had this question. Let me know if that explanation helps. When you do these, do them step by step. Back to you, Sir.
Thanks, man. So what I've done in the interim is I've done exactly that with the highlight. And I've said, look at the parts that I know I'm going to do first. For 16, I know I need to work out what 3 times 2 is, and it's going to be 6, because that comes first. Then the next bit is I have to do the division because it's the more important bit in the BODMAS. So we say its order of precedence is higher. So what's 33 divided by 11? It's 3. Now look how much easier that question gets, because now it's 8 minus 6, which is 2, and 2 minus 3 is minus 1. And the same sort of idea comes on in 17, except we have to remember, what does it mean if we've got 2 numbers next to each other with a bracket? And what we know is that it's multiplication. And so it has to get done first. So what is 17 going to be? I'll give you a moment more. And then what is going on in 18? What does that mean? Let's talk about that. So 3 times 3 with a, so 9 minus 9, so 17 is 0. Who would like to jump online and tell me what the funny floating in the sky thing means? To the power of 2. I want to see those hands, and then I'll let you jump online. What are these things about? Whose hands can we see? Anyone? Let's have a look. Anyone want to tell us? Okay. What that means is that whatever you have in the bracket, you repeat twice. So minus 3 squared means minus 3 times minus 3. That's all flip. Sorry, guys. And then what we then have is, because the second one has minus 2 in bracket to the power of 2, it just means repeat whatever's in the bracket that many times. Now that I've done that for you, I want you guys to see if you can work out the answer to 18. It's a tough one, but you have, I've introduced something new, but I want to see who can get the final answer for 18. Because it's, if you can get that, it means you're really getting there. Oh, I see there's a bit of a time delay there. Sorry, guys. I see the hands have just gone up now. Let me see in the chat if you get the answers. Who can get the answer for 18? See a couple of answers coming in. Oh, well done, Anna. Let's have a look if you're on the... So I would do this bit first and this bit first. So I get 9 minus 4 minus 1. No, I made a mistake. No, I haven't made a mistake. This bit over here is going to be positive 9. Excuse my rather large 9. And this bit over here is going to be positive 4. And that's where that comes from. So we get 9 minus 4 is 5. 5 minus 1 is 4. And that's our final answer. Okay. Now, we're going to call it a day for today. In terms of this, now obviously you need to keep practicing integers, but I think this course has really given us a nice foundation in the basics of how BODMAS and negative numbers and multiplying, all that comes together. You still need to practice more yourself, but we are going to pause there, and then what's going to happen is from next week we're going to tackle another really sort of subject that students always need good basics in, which are fractions. But I've really enjoyed teaching the group. We're a nice big group now. I see we're touching 65, 66 people, which really has a nice energy to it. And thank you for all the students who kept your cameras on today. That was really helpful for me as a teacher. And Ms. Anya, if I could ask you to please put the link to the quiz in the chat, and so that students who are ready to go and take that fun quiz, you can go off and do it. And then for those, just before you go, if you could just give us an emoji in the chat of how today felt for you. Like, what was your experience today? We're not going to do a poll, but just like, you know, give us a thumbs up if you felt good, or just let us know how you're feeling as we come to the end of this lesson. And then the other thing, guys, is please tell your friends. We really want your friends to come and join us. Oh, I like that. Somebody said some thumbs up, some thumbs down, which means there were some parts that were good, but some parts I need more practice. And that's the real world, guys. There's no problem with that. Okay. So Anya, I am going to let you take care of the students as they go to the quiz. I will see you guys Monday.
Bye, Sam.